Hi, I'm sure you have heard about the Hebrew Israelites, who are mainly black American people who claim to be the true children of Israel, the lost tribes, and you know, they claim to be the chosen people, etc., etc. And I'm not gonna talk about whether they are or not. I'm gonna ignore that for now. What I do want to talk about is, would it matter even if they were? Would it matter? Okay, because I get the impression that a lot of people think, a lot of these guys think that if they truly are the children of Israel, then they get to go to heaven, they get to receive um, salvation from God just on the basis of who they are. But I want to show you from the book of Romans that they're very much mistaken. So I want to make it clear from the beginning, I am not addressing whether they truly are or not. If you watch my other videos, you will see clearly what I think about that. I want to address, what would it matter? Does it matter as far as salvation is concerned? So in the book of Romans, in the first chapter of Romans, Paul talks about how Gentiles have gone astray, how God had written the law in their hearts, how he had revealed himself in creation, and they went astray. Chapter 1 of Romans, verse 21, he says, "For although they knew God," these are the Gentiles, "for although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things." And then he goes on to talk about their lusts, how they started practicing homosexuality and all kinds of evil, right? And so the point there is the Gentiles are under the righteous judgment of God. God is angry with them because of what they've done. They're sinful. No problems. I'm sure many Hebrew Israelites would agree with that. But then he goes on into chapter 2 and starts to focus on the Jews. And he says to them, okay, fair enough, the Jews, you were given the law of Moses, you were given the prophets. So you should have a clearer understanding of God compared to the Gentiles. You should be able to walk closer with God compared to the Gentiles. But he goes on to say, you didn't. Okay? And chapter 2, verse 12 says, "For all who have sinned without the law will perish without the law, and all who have sinned under the law will be judged by the law. For it is not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but the doers of the law who will be justified." So it's not enough that God gave you the law, that you had the law, so you're going to be justified. No, 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 no. You have to be a doer of it. And he's basically saying, you are not a doer of the law. If you call yourself a Jew and rely on the law and boast in God, and know his will and approve what is excellent, because you are instructed from the law, and if you are sure that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of children, having in the law the embodiment of knowledge and truth. So you got in the law the embodiment of knowledge and truth, and you think that you are an instructor, a guide to the blind. You think that you're something special. He says, then you who teach others, do you not teach yourself? While you preach against stealing, do you steal? While you say to the one that they must not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abhor idols, do you rob temples? You who boast in the law, dishonor God by breaking the law. For it is written, the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you. So he's basically talking about, he's saying, listen, just because you got the law, don't think that makes you special. To be special, to be justified before God, you have to keep the law perfectly. And he's saying the Gentiles haven't done it, the Jews haven't done it. Chapter 3, again I'm summarizing, he says, because of all this, the Jews and the Gentiles, now he's speaking to the whole world, yeah? Speaking to the whole world. He says, verse 9, chapter 3, verse 9, what then? Are we Jews any better off? No, not at all. For we have already charged that all, both Jews and Greeks, are under sin. As it is written, none is righteous, no, not one. No one understands, no one seeks for God. All have turned aside, together they have become worthless. No one does good, not even one. Don't think that claiming to be a Jew makes you any good. Verse 13, their throats are an open grave. They use their tongues to deceive. The venom of asps is in their lips. Their mouth is full of curses and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood, and their paths in their paths are ruin and misery. The way of peace they have not known it. They have not known it. There is no fear of God in their eyes. Verse 20 to finish off. Verse 19 and 20. Now we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be stopped, that the whole world may be held accountable to God. For by the works of the law, no human being will be justified in the sight of God, since through the law came the knowledge of sin. So basically, chapter 1 to chapter 3 of Romans are saying the same thing. Whether you're Jew or Gentile, you're a sinner, you're under God's righteous judgment, and you will be found guilty. In fact, you're already guilty. You just don't know it yet. If you go to judgment day as you are, you're going to hell. Eternal damnation. That's what you deserve. So whether you think you're a Jew just because you're black, or you know you're not, or whatever the situation is, know this. In the eyes of God, you're a sinner. In the eyes of God, you are condemned. And the question should be not whether am I a Jew because I'm black. None of that. That's foolish questions to be asking. The question to be asking is a simple question. What can I, a sinner, someone who is guilty before God, what can I do to be made right with God? That is the question. What can I do to be made right with God? And we've already seen that it says in verse 20 of chapter 3, for by the works of the law no human being will be justified in the sight of God, since through the law comes the knowledge of sin. So there's really nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And the answer of how can a sinful man like yourself and me be made right with God is in chapter 3 from verse 21 to verse 31. And the answer is basically through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Please read chapter 21 to 31. And it's literally saying, through what Christ did on the cross, he died on the cross, taking upon himself all our sins, taking upon himself all the punishment that we deserved, thereby paying for the sins and pacifying the wrath of God, the righteous wrath of God that is due us. He took on himself. And because of that, we can be forgiven if we have faith in him. Please read it slowly and stop thinking that being a certain race is going to get you closer to God or to heaven. If you think that, you don't know God, and you definitely don't know yourself. The Bible clearly tells you that you are guilty before God and you deserve death. And that's what you're going to get, eternal damnation, if you're not made right with God. And the only way to be made right with God is through Jesus Christ, his son. God bless you.